Hey guys, just got back from a 7-day moto camping trip in Utah, and I figured before I unloaded all my gear and cleaned this bike up, I would try to make a quick video on how I pack my Mosko Moto Reckless 40 kit for a week of moto camping off the bike, and what I carry and some of the stuff that I bought to scale down my luggage weight. And the reason I want to do this is because when I first got into moto camping, I had no idea what kind of gear to carry, how much gear to carry, how many liters of storage I needed for my luggage, and how it would fit on the bike and how it would all work out. So I first jumped in and bought the Reckless 80 kit, and it worked great. But I soon realized that I needed less and less gear, and every trip I would come back, I would scale down, and before I knew it, I was not fulfilling the Reckless 80 to its limits, and so I figured I would scale down to the 40 and give it a go. And you can see the way it is packed now is how I traveled for 7 days in southern Utah. And so let me just get into it real quick. This is more about the Reckless 40, but I want to cover what I carry up here real quick just to show you what you can do. So this is the giant loop handlebar bag, and inside here I've got some of my charging stuff. You can see I carry my phone for GPS navigation on Gaia GPS, but in here a couple of the little USB chargers, cords, zip ties, just miscellaneous little small things. This is the zigzag giant loop handlebar bag. And then in the Wolfman Enduro tank bag, I like this tank bag. It's a good size. It is a little wide back here, so when I stand, my legs do rub this. I have the Mosko Moto Pico tank bag, which I love, but it's just a little bit small. It's great for 1 or 2 day trips. So I chose to go with this just to carry some more room. Up in here I carry a little voltmeter and the waterproof liner for this tank bag. And then inside the tank bag, obviously toilet paper, wet wipes. This is actually a small 1 ounce bottle of oil for my this Cobra chain oiler. Headlamp. This is the titanium windscreen for my little camp oven, and of course right now you got to keep one of these things handy. More wet wipes. I stuck my phone in here for the trip back. Some extra volet straps just in case. Some miscellaneous baggies. Earplugs, ibuprofen, stuff like that. Garmin GPS Mini InReach. This thing's great to have. You can text a wife if you don't have phone reception at night and let people know where you're at. You should carry this on you if you are riding solo, but I'm with a group of guys, so they all know I have this. So I just leave it tucked in here where it's safe and out of the way. And I think that's about all in the tank bag. And I could get more in there if I need to, but that's just kind of a quick rundown of what I keep in there. Stuff you need quick access to, maybe your medication. I'll keep my wallet in there, chapstick, hand sanitizer, stuff like that. Now, as far as the Reckless 40 goes, you don't have a lot of room here, so you have to be very picky on what you carry. So to help with my water situation, because I do not carry, I don't like the weight on my shoulder or my back when I'm riding that many days straight, so I do not carry any kind of Camelback or hydration bladder. But on Amazon I got these, I don't even know what brand they are. That's their signature logo, and this is an insulated water pouch, and inside I carry the Hydro Cell top insulated 32 ounce water jug. So I'll keep one on each side of the bike. Helps even out the weight, and it works great with the MOLLE webbing on the front of the 40. And these insulated water pouches have this little bitty pouch on the front here. You can put some snacks. I actually carried some tortilla wraps and some lunch meat like salami and pepperoni, stuff that can last out in the heat, for multiple days. So you cram this full, and then for extra water, inside this little pouch on both sides of the 40, in here, this little cubby area, I'll carry a 20-ounce bottle. This is a 16-ounce, it's just there for representation. And then these are just some little bitty bungees that I had off of the old carport style, awning thing. And I just kind of wrap it around there to keep that in there so that I don't lose my water on the trail. So every day we go to a gas station and we get gas and water. And so we got 32, 64, plus I carry two 20-ounce smart water bottles. The smart water bottles are really good shape, long, skinny, and they're thick bottles, so they last. And so that's 104 ounces of water, and that gets me through, an afternoon of riding, supper that night, breakfast the next morning, and then back to a gas station at some point. Now I have added this, I think this is a 1 or 2 liter Molly pouch from Mosko. It's the kind that has the little opening down here for their dromedary bags. And inside here I'll keep, in that little pouch I kept 6 breakfasts, which consist of oatmeal in the quart freezer bags. And then I would scale down and get the Mountain House rice and chicken. I like that a lot. It doesn't upset my stomach during the week. And I take it out of the package that it comes in, and I put it in a quart freezer bags, and I write down how much water it needs to rehydrate. And then, so in this bag, I got, I think, 6 or 7 of these, plus 5 or 6 of my homemade oatmeals in this pouch. Now that's crammed full. And then, like I said, I had, some lunch stuff in here for during the day for maybe about 3 days. So at some point, you're having to resupply. But that's pretty much most of my food. And then as I'm eating food out of here during the week, and you're hitting gas stations or whatever, you can start putting stuff back in here, lunch snacks or whatever. So up at the top here, in this 8-liter Stinger bag, is where I carry my clothes. And in here I've got some of the little hand warmers. I knew we were going to be, I checked the weather every day before we left. I knew it was going to be one night in the 30s, and the rest of the nights would be in the 40s or 50s. So, those hand warmers are kind of nice to have. You never know what you might get into in the mountains. This is I'm trying to do this one-handed, guys, bear with me. The tent pole bag that comes with the 40, no, I don't believe it comes with the 40. I believe I had to purchase it additionally because it comes with the 80. But this thing is big enough to carry, your tent poles. There's my stakes for my tent. And I also carry one of these Israeli called emergency bandage. This is basically a large bandage if you have a bad accident, and it has a plastic piece on one end so that you can make a tourniquet out of it. That's just a little precautionary measure when you're 50 miles in the middle of the desert. So let me open up this 8-liter Stinger here. Okay, so in this 8-liter Stinger, this is my bag of toiletries, a little thing of travel deodorant, travel toothbrush, a little bit of lotion. I have a little bottle of camp suds in here, just in case we get to find some place with water, take a quick bath, and a small camping towel to dry off with. From, I think that's MSR maybe. But that's all my toiletries for the week. So Mosko gives you these 20-liter dry sacks usually when you get your luggage. And inside here, a small fleeced toboggan, a long sleeve smart wool shirt, a thin pair of what I would consider hiking type pants. I got these at Bass Pro Shop, nothing fancy, just real thin and compact. A thin fleece shirt to go over the long sleeve shirt in case it gets cold at night. A thin pair of cotton socks, short socks, in case you get to camp and it's kind of warm. These are good to put on to get out of your boots, and you don't need a long, thick sock, you know, sometimes during the afternoon. I do carry a pair of smart wool thick socks for nighttime, just to make sure that my feet stay warm in the sleeping bag. And a thin pair of base layer long johns. And one pair of EXO official underwear. This stuff is great. You can wear it multiple days. So what I typically do is I would change into this gear, this clothing at nighttime, and then I wear the same moto gear during the day. And I wear a lot of synthetic, you know, like the EXO official underwear. I'll go 3 or 4 days with that same pair of underwear on, and then change out to the next pair and go through, you know, the remainder of the trip. As long as you don't have any kind of accidents, you should be good to go. The stuff does not stink at all. It doesn't get crusty and grimy. I highly recommend it. The same with wool socks and wool shirts. The stuff is hard to beat. Okay, I'm now on the right side leg. In this bag right here, I have a Helinox Chair 1, small, compact, lightweight camping chair. Some people can go without a chair at nighttime, but I cannot. I gotta have something to sit in and lean back in, and it's much more enjoyable at camp. This is a lightweight pair of Crocs shoes. They're soft. These are size 12s, but they fold down pretty compact. And I keep them in this bag just to keep all the rest of my gear as clean as possible. And then in the bottom, I used to use a stuff sack, a compression sack with my Reckless 80, but these legs are so small on this 40 that my sleeping bag gets crammed in the bottom there. And that is an REI Igneo 17 long. So I'm about 6'2", and this is a great bag, and it fits well crammed in the bottom of that one leg. Now in this lower pouch on the bottom side of the right leg, I keep a Tygon tube in case we have to siphon gas out. Here is spare brake pads front and rear, a spare shifter lever, and brake and clutch levers just in case. You don't want to be way out in the middle of nowhere and do without one of those. Small mountain bike hand pump. And this is a dirtbikegear.com. This is a front tube, a standard 21-inch front tube. This pouch is designed to go on your front fender and loop around the fork tube so it stays secured, but with the IMS 3-gallon tank, this thing interferes with the tank, so it now goes in this pouch right here. And that's all I carry on the right side. Now on this left side pouch, this is a anti-gravity gear. This is a rehydration or reconstitution pouch. This is what I put the quart freezer bag foods in. Once I boil my water, put the water in the freezer quart bag, then I put it in here, and it keeps it warm while it reconstitutes. And that is a great way to scale down your food supply. And if you haven't looked into quart freezer bag cooking, it's something I stumbled on with the hiking community. And there's tons of recipes, tons of ideas. So this thing was like 12 bucks, and you can see it wads up to little or nothing. Here is my cook kit. If I Get into it. There's a combo human gear spork spoon combo, or fork and spoon combo. And then I carry this just plain pot, nothing fancy. All I do is boil water. It's, you know, boil water for supper and boil water for breakfast, and then it's something quick for lunch. And inside here, I've got a small half cup measuring cup, folds out like that. A small compact stove that runs on those small isobutane bottles. And I carry 2 lighters. And one trick is to put a small zip tie around your spare lighter so that way it can't get pressed while you're traveling and drain your lighter. I also carry, this is the small, how many ounces? 7.4 ounce ISO Pro bottle. If you do some searching on the internet, you can find there's little bitty brass adapters so that you can refill these things, and you don't wind up with one of these things that's half full or quarter full, and then you have to go buy another one, and you wind up with a stack of these things. So if you do your research, you can find out how to refill these things with the, I believe it's an isobutane canister. It's about this tall. It looks like a spray can, aerosol spray can bottle, and you can buy them at Costco or Sam's for a 4-pack for like $5. And one of those bottles will refill this small canister probably 2 or 3 times. So you can refill this for like 30 or 40 cents every time you do it. And that way you're not spending a bunch of money and have a bunch of these laying around. Now I don't drink coffee like a lot of guys do. So I'm boiling 8 to 12 ounces for supper, and then about 8 ounces for breakfast. And this will easily last 7 days doing that. Now, in the bottom, crammed in here again, I used to put my tent in a compression sack, but these are so small that you can easily cram stuff in here. So there's my footprint, my wet rain fly on the last day of the trip. And here is my tent. It is a Marmot tungsten 1-person, and I personally like the 1-person tents. Some people have to have the 2-person because they want to be able to put all their gear inside, but that tent is big enough with the vestibule that you can put your helmet and your boots underneath it. And then I use my riding jacket under my sleeping pad as a kind of help get my head up a little bit as a pillow, and then my rest of my gear just throw it down along my feet. And I've been real pleased with that tent. My sleeping pad is the Nemo Tensor Insulated Long Wide. And this is an excellent pad. I've turned some other guys onto it, and they said some of the best sleep they've got. I got this at REI. I want to say it was $180, somewhere around $200, and it's worth every penny. And then the last thing down there is my X-Pad Mega Pillow. This is a nice soft fleece type cover on it, and that helps with sleep tremendously. And that's all for that bag. Now down here on the other side of the bottom pouch, small first aid kit with some rubber gloves. That's good for your, if you had to work on somebody that's hurt and they're bloody or whatever. But I mainly keep this for doing like chain work maintenance or air filter maintenance. Last trip I had a buddy lose some rear wheel bearings, and we had to go hunt down wheel bearings. So I got a cheap set of wheel bearings just to throw in there. I don't carry the tools to change these. I might be able to make do with what I have, but it's easier to find a hammer or a rock or a stick or something to change these out if you were in a crunch. To try to find wheel bearings in the middle of nowhere is very difficult, so I'll at least carry those. That weighs not much and takes up no space. Small tow rope just in case. And then I got these little pouches from Dirt Bike Gear. I've got my patch kit, my plug kit, some miscellaneous bolts, nuts, master link, maybe a little chain tool, just stuff like that you don't want to lose. And here is my dirt bike gear toolkit. Okay, as far as my toolkit, I carry the Motion Pro. This is a 32 for the Honda. This is the combo axle nut wrench with the spoon on it. And I used to ride a Beta, so I have a 27 also. That covers your Japanese bikes and your European bikes. The Knipex small pliers. If you've been on ADV Rider much researching toolkits, you'll see how useful these things are and how strong they are. It's a great small pair of pliers to carry. Small T-handle that has the 1/4-inch drive socket adapters on the end. There's that's the plug inserter for a plug kit, because I use this for multiple bikes. My other 2-stroke carries has a tubeless, so I need plugs also, so I just keep it all together. And then a couple of little wrenches, your basic 8, 10, 12. There's a combo screwdriver from a factory tool kit. Not the best, but it works. Spark plug socket, just in case you were to drown your bike or foul a plug, and you need that specific for your bike, because it seems like they're all different nowadays. And I've got the 1/4-inch adapter on there to fit the T-handle. A cheap razor knife, disposable. If you lose it, you're not out much. And then here, my sockets wired up, and I only carry what I actually need for the trail work. And I think people overpack sometimes, thinking that they might need more tools than what they actually have. But you got to think about what you can actually fix out there on the trail. And so you don't need as much as what you think you might need. Just some small safety wire. And here's some small Allen wrenches and a couple little Allen heads that fit in one of these little sockets if you need more torque on it than just a standard little small Allen wrench. And that's pretty much all I carry for my toolkit. I am also carrying a Rotopax. I currently only have the 3-gallon IMS. I've had enough of that. I'm going to ditch that and get the 5-gallon tank from Australia and ditch my Rotopax. I'm tired of carrying this much weight back here, and it's hard to get to if you need it, and you got to take all this junk back off to refill it, so I'm done with that. So that should put my kit down lower and give me a little bit better center of gravity. A simple way to attach this luggage to the CRF450L is with these little things from Mosko Moto. And if I can show you right there, it's got the slit in it, so you don't have to fully undo this. You can just kind of slide it in there and lock it. But that works great as your tie-down point instead of going to your frame, because here you have the exhaust to worry about, and the other side you might have the chain to worry about. One thing I do suggest with this extra strap, I just used the Velcro on this side and it worked great, but on the other side, my boot kept pulling this out a couple times on the trip, so I need to start putting electrical tape around this and maybe zip tying this up somehow just a little bit better. But overall, I'm very pleased. You can see all my junk laying out here. I'm pleased with how this kit works out. It's simple, lightweight, and effective. And when you go out moto camping, you don't need as much as what you think you might. And most of the time you're going to a town every day for gas. So if you did forget something, you can pick it up there. So that's all. Hope this helps out some people, and get out there and ride. See ya.